So Michael, talking about that 21%, I'm wondering, when clients come to Samsung Ads for solutions, what are their problems that they're telling you about? Is it just reach? Is it trying to reach a particular audience? Is it something else? Is it they feel like they need to be in the space, they don't want to crawl?
Yeah, it could be anything. I think it starts with the kind of the universal, the universal problem. This concept of everybody's watching television differently than they did 5 years ago. So now help me quantify that. Now help me understand that, how it applies to my brand. Now help me figure out how to action that. Now help me figure out how to measure that, get the insights off of that, and then rinse and repeat. And so it just really depends on where they are in the adoption curve. I'm not kidding when I say that these two here are like, don't have FOMO, because they are really on the bleeding edge here. They are, I would say, even run walking, Tim. Because we'll have some who literally come to us and they'll spend hundreds of millions of dollars in network television and go, yeah, it's just not working the way it used to. I'm like, no kidding, no one's watching television they used to. But let us, with our data, really pull apart the why and then the what next. And the what next sometimes is, will help you, but I also have, clients who will look and take their own audiences, maybe a high-value audience that's sitting in their DMP. We'll pull it in and we'll be able to profile their network television. I've had clients who have taken that profile into the upfronts, and they've actually been able to moneyball their upfronts. They've been able to find those networks or those programs that over-index but have very low costs. Maybe it's a network that, so we've talked about this before.
So at PepsiCo, we have actually what's called a PepsiCo Rating Point system. It's called PRPs, and what we do is exactly that. We take purchase data layered on with like social data, emotional data, and then we really create our own propensity model to rank now against our buyers of Doritos or Quaker or Pepsi, Blue Can, who's most likely to watch which network and which show, and then we utilize that for upfront buying. So that's super, that's really smart. The only other thing I was going to say, it's almost counterintuitive, right? Because when you think about linear TV, I mean, for years and years and years, every TV upfront I've attended, it's all about the desirable young audience. And the reality is young audience is actually watching streaming. Yep. So you would imagine that we'd all be able to like move along faster and quicker and be smarter with our investments, and certainly that is the effort.
So since we've been talking a bunch about effectiveness and proving that this is worthwhile, let's talk a little bit about measurement before we run out of time, and what measurement is available to you right now, whether you're satisfied with that. Is the industry meeting your needs as far as measurement, and what are you looking for? Let's start with the brands.
Why don't you go first?
No, go.
So in terms of measurement, I mean, I think the metrics are available. It's certainly out there. The fact that sales lift is available is a huge game changer. I think it really is more, I would take onus more on the brand side in terms of our MMM models not being where it needs to be. And I think as the two start to converge, it's going to be that sweet spot where that shift is going to happen rapidly. But as an industry, I mean, I think there's a ton of measurement truly available. It's mind-blowing. We're finally holding television accountable to a digital metric, and that's been a long time coming.
And I think one of the things that we're working on with some bleeding-edge marketers is not just kind of the look back, but the predictive, right? So if my media mix looks like this, not only what is going to be my reach frequency curve and kind of simple media metrics, but what's my outcome going to be? What's it going to be in terms of the efficacy? The expected output, right? In terms of consumer throughput, case, sales. Obviously, Justin presented stuff about web traffic that we've been able to get very precise in terms of our measurement with. So.
I think that's great for automotive. I always love when I go to presentations and the first vertical is automotive. I'm like, but I'm in CPG. It's really hard.
We'll get there, Shoba, don't worry.
Yeah, exactly.
People don't visit our
websites.
People don't go to the websites. I think measurement's actually, for us, it actually starts all the way in the beginning process of planning. And I think one of the biggest challenges that we're seeing, and this is across the entire industry, how do you plan for this in your total understanding of reach? So linear, streaming, Facebook, Google, and everyone in between, how do you actually plan against that? And I think that's one of the challenges. We work hard in developing these reach curves at all the agencies and holding companies in market, and they don't have this perfect pie plugged in yet because it's become this new LumaScape overcomplicated, and nobody's kind of plugged into the reach curves to say, okay, if you do total streaming, this is the reach you're going to get out of it. Right now we're saying, well, if we do a buy with Roku, or we do a buy with Samsung, or we do a buy with Hulu, this is what you're getting. But what if I want to buy it all and control reach and frequency across everything? I can't today. So a lot of that is probably the first focus that we're on, and pushing into biddable platforms first. Even though we're seeing a higher cost to buy against this media, I'd rather control reach and frequency because I'm actually getting a lower cost per person by doing that, even though the CPMs may seem inflated and all that. But because the planning capabilities in the entire industry are so nascent right now, how do we evolve that game, I think, to start on a better foot before measuring it at the afterthought?
Yeah. So, speaking of planning, part of the beauty of advanced TV is that you can, define and find your target audiences. So does that also mean that maybe brands aren't fully digging into the data to use that to its fullest advantage?
Yes and no.
Not you. I'm not saying
No,
you.
yes and no. It's a mix. I think, the way that we've kind of partnered and down this journey with M1 and the Merkle team is actually understanding our purchasers and where they're consuming content and where they're going, and starting with an audience first approach versus what is the reach I'm going to get out of this? What's my frequency going to be? It's more of where's my audience? What content are they consuming, and how am I going to go find them? And that's kind of the way that we're putting data first. It's more of an audience plan versus a media plan.
And just to add on that, so he's not talking about where's my adults 18 to 49 that I don't know who they are,
That's
but if you're
not
in
my linear
if you're in
currency.
that demo, then that's who I want. It's like, no, the actual people,
Yep.
the actual people,
That's a good point.
I have, 15.7 million people that I would like to reach, and we know them individually on the M1 platform. We have them anonymously. So following those people and how they're connected and where they go is, the future. I think, among the things you said, the future of the advertising business and all this complexity is around identity. And literally it's all anonymized, but knowing the individual people anonymized and following whatever group that you want. And that's really what you're talking about. It's not demos,
really
it's actually
good point.
people.
So as
Yeah.
you do talk to marketers, anybody in the room, separating your linear buying currency to actual data targeting is a very big nuance that it took our brands. They were like, what do you mean? TV, you get spillover. I can actually get, if I say I'm going to buy 18 to 34, I'm only getting 18 to 34. You're not getting everyone thereafter. And that was kind of a big mental shift that they had to understand and go through that. We've built a data strategy for most digital, but it's not my linear buying currency. And that shift in paradigm in their mental state was actually a really bigger challenge, but it seemed so simple. But they didn't fully understand
Did you
that.
literally see the moment when the light bulb went off?
After the 35th meeting in 3 months, yeah, finally they got
With
it.
that Harvard MBA, he's very smart at a lot of other things.
Yes.
Well, I think the resolution of like deduplicated reach and universal frequency management is when you have a consumer identity graph.
Yep.
And one of the challenges with a lot of CPG orgs, I don't know if you encountered, is
yeah.
we're very far behind the curve when it comes to CRM data.
Right.
And so one of our approaches from a data strategy standpoint is really to bolster our CRM first, so we can really adopt that consumer-centric approach, particularly as cookies are going away, GDPR is coming into the fold. How do we now get prepared for this cookieless environment? And the way to do that is with first party, second party, and then third party, like tiered data approach here. So once we do that, I think we will be able to be more effective again in the way we buy.
It's very hard though to say, hey, buy a
Yeah.
Reese's and give me your email address.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
We've
It's
got
not
to
gonna
give a
happen.
consumer something, whether it's a promotional, whatever it ends up being. But it's very hard, as Shoba mentioned, for us to get data.
But
It's
you have
one
an
of the biggest
advantage. But you have an
challenges.
advantage with the park.
We do. We have a sister company that has an amusement park attached to our business. What I uncovered, and it's been a 2-year legal battle, is they're privately held, we're publicly held, and there's no data sharing. So we are actually in final red line stages. We have 4 million people who walk through the park every single year. And we're trying to get all that data. There's beacons all over the park, and I'm basically telling them, I'll build your data strategy. You get to use it too. But we really just want to access that data. So it will give us a leg up, but it's still not where we want to end up getting to.
We have just a couple moments left, so I want to wrap up on maybe a little bit more positive note. Tell me really quick something
Has this
that...
been negative? I don't think it's
Well,
been
just
negative.
that-
We're just trying to
that
push
last
everybody
minute.
forward. I don't feel like it's been
Just tell
negative.
me something that you're really excited about for 2020 in this area. Let's start with you, Michael.
In this area, obviously, I'm a homer for Samsung, so I'm so excited about our Samsung TV Plus, which is a free television service that has upwards of almost 70 channels that comes free TV with your TV. Imagine that. So as soon as you get that smart TV, that brand new 65-inch, and you plug it in and you turn on the internet, you start having great, high-quality television served right to your home. So it helps complement, those cord cutters who maybe were using kind of the cable for channel surfing. Now they have a free surfing type of platform for them.
For me, I would say it's the convergence of voice and IoT. That's one space, and the second space is blockchain, which is a whole different work stream. But I think with IoT, particularly when I think about Samsung, I mean, I think of it as this behemoth organization that goes so beyond the screen. So as a CPG org, I'm thinking about how do I integrate with Samsung where my refrigerator can tell me that I'm low on Tropicana, and we find a way to talk to Alexa and put that in my cart, and then find a closed loop solution where it's delivered, very quickly and rapidly. So that's, I think, a sort of white space from a PepsiCo
I'm also excited about our
standpoint.
refrigerators, by the way.
Agnostic.
I think I'm most excited about kind of the I told you so moment of really proving this out.
Those are the best.
Nice ego right there.
Because it's
I
been
like
a
that.
2-year battle. I'm like, finally, we're there. Let's prove this now for once and for all. But really, I think we are extremely bullish in the advanced TV space. But we feel very confident that it's a low calculated risk. The more reach we get, the more household penetration will grow. That's the number I've got to grow. If I grow that, sales will go up. So I'm excited to kind of finally prove all of this out.
Tim?
I would say starting to bring together media and creative and using a platform and data to do dynamic creative optimization and putting it back together. I'm old enough to where I was there before when it was together and then when it got pulled apart, and I think being able to bring it back together, and we are going to start to do that. We've already talked about picking a brand at Hershey's and figuring out how we can marry creative and media and messaging in real time, and I think being part of that inevitable change in the industry is probably what I'm most excited about for next year.
Well, hopefully we'll all be back to talk about it a year from now. So thank you all so much, and thank you to my panel for coming.